Now, South Africa's water crises are well documented. The issues range from multi-year droughts plague havoc with water supply, as well as aging or insufficient water infrastructure, all through to a lack of funding. That's a perennial one. Dr. Roland Nkwain is Program Manager for Climate Justice and Socio-Ecological Transformation at the Rosa Luxemburg Foundation here in Southern Africa and has written extensively on the subject. He joins me now on eNCA. Doctor, you go on to say the grim picture of water scarcity should lead to a complete rethinking of how water is used and managed in South Africa. Before we look at your solutions, where do you think we're making our mistakes?
I think, Jeremy, the problem is man-made. The fact that we keep kicking the can down the road, that accounts for the biggest part of the problem. Because if we say, for example, in Parliament that we have about a 33 billion rand shortfall per year, and over the next 10 years, that tells you the magnitude of the problem. And just very quickly as well, when we know that the Kimberley municipality postponed improving its water treatment facility for about 20 years, that gives you another idea of the problem that we face, that a lot of it has to do with what we can do, but unfortunately are not doing.
Have we not moved to the point now where it is almost beyond a workable solution, that we will continue to put Band-Aids on the problems? You've come up with some very disturbing figures. The Eastern Cape needs more than 120 billion rand to address its water problems. The investment shortfall for the entire country stands at 900 billion rand. We just don't have that money.
Well, it starts with doing what we can do with what we have. Starting, for example, with government facilities. And we know, for example, that 44% of water treatment works are in very poor condition. 11% of water treatment works are dysfunctional. About 41% of all the water that is sold to businesses and to homes is a bit free of charge. No revenue is generated for that. And so those are the kind of things that we need to start looking at. Try and control what we can control. The city of Cape Town, before it arrived at its Day Zero campaign, had postponed improving its water treatment facilities and expanding those facilities for the growing population. And this is something very generalized that we see across the country, as well as corruption or sometimes lack of capacity. So we need to do better with what we have, on the one hand, with the man-made problems, and on the other hand, what is climate-induced, we must also start changing our habits.
We've got to do better, but we've also got to engender in one way or another a little bit more urgency, a little bit more impetus. Again, you suggest that we're not getting to grips with this topic because it's an unappealing one, and it's all happening in slow motion.
Exactly. And just to add another dimension to that fact, Jeremy, is the fact that we do not have the same problem across the country at the same time. And so, for example, when we have flash floods in Johannesburg, the Joburgers obviously would ask, but then how can we say that there is a water problem when we do not see it? And so you have crisis in the Northern Cape, in Mpumalanga, in the Eastern Cape, and so on. But other parts of the country, parts of KwaZulu-Natal is doing well, parts of Gauteng and parts of the Western Cape, which has improved significantly. And so those are the kind of disparities that cause that lack of urgency on the part of many. But we have to then include the media in this picture and start impressing on all South Africans the urgency of the situation and the fact that it is worse than the electricity problem, and that we all have to start improving how we use and manage water.
I'm going to leave it there. Dr. Roland Ngam, thank you very much indeed, Programme Manager for Climate Justice at the Rosa Luxemburg Foundation.